Good morning, people. Right, it is bank holiday Monday morning. It's just gone 7 o'clock, well, 7:22, and I didn't expect much activity at all this morning. I did have a look at all the New Zealand currency pairs, purely because I had noted on one of my videos over the weekend, over the weekend, on Friday actually, that we closed with a massive, great big weekly candle. And what do we often get when we have a big weekly candle is a pullback, big green, big red, and these are all a bit taily, but big green, big red, big red, big green, and big red, big green, big green. What do you think might happen here? Only might, because we can see momentum is falling off to the downside, as it were. Little poke down there, so that was an indicator that maybe we would have a pullback to the downside. Nothing happened overnight. I would want to at least to see the H1 turn red. H4 turn red. I do apologise. Before I considered entering. That's important, guys. Think about that. If you're trading, this one could easily turn green, and this one had actually had more momentum. It's a bigger green bar above the zero level, so definitely not bearish at all from that point of view. But that often happens. Price often goes up before it continues down. We've got a descending trend line here. The major trend is up, which is what that weekly was telling us, really. So I would have liked to have seen the H4 to be in alignment, along with then H1 would have pulled back and done its stuff. It's still on its way now. We've confirmed down to the 30-minute, but we're actually straight into the hourly support. So this looks like it will take place, and it looks like there will be trades available. But now the disclaimer: you must not trade anything I talk about on here. You must do your own analysis. Okay, so I would not, and that's an interesting and worthwhile point to make here. The H4 had kept me out of consideration for shorts there on any of these New Zealand currencies, but it's doing its stuff now. It's dropping off, but it's a weak, thin market today. The Americans are on holiday, Memorial Day, I think. The UK is a bank holiday. The Europeans and the Asians are in, if memory serves me correctly, which is why I thought DAX would be an interesting proposition, because it almost always moves at 7 a.m, the Frankfurt Open. So these were untradeable for me, according to my plan, according to my rules, and they still are until that H4 closes at 10 a.m. today. You can always attack the H4. Now we've got the H1, but we didn't have the H1 prior to this hour closing. I hope that makes sense. But you are, if you're considering shorting this, you're trading into massive support now. So that's always worth mentioning. You know, you have to do your assessment on every time frame, which is why you draw the lines. So what really needs to happen is, if you're considering anything short based on that weekly, you have to draw all your lines in, starting from really the monthly. Look at my lines videos. Do a search on YouTube, lines. I tend to put that in the description, so that if I need to find one of those videos for you, or you want to find them yourself, just type lines into YouTube and you'll get how I draw my lines. It's important because when you're maybe a bit fluffy, you've been out for the night, you had a party or something, or you just been away from the trades during the day, or you've been working during the day, get home looking for an end of day trade, say for example, draw the line starting on the monthly. Use this to give you an indicator of what might be interesting, and then because this is very vague, as you know, this is precise and fantastic, as you know if you watch my videos, and I like the hourly 8 EMA on the chart as well. Every chart, same EMA, but you have to change the parameters. Anyway, back to my trade of the morning this morning. In fact, there were two very good opportunities this morning. One that I took first thing, and then because of the whilst I was making the video, and I had to retake it because I made a fluffed it up. This occurred. Euro CAD came up, strong, weak Euro, strong CAD, and I'll go through that in a moment. But quickly, the DE one. So DE, looking at H4, we could clearly see we're green. Day one had closed green on Friday. You can clearly see we're in an uptrend anyway. So H4 moving downwards, H1. The only thing important to note with trading the DAX is that the spread changes at 7:01. So if the price goes without you at between 7 o'clock the Frankfurt Open and 7:01, you have to pay a huge spread. Well, 6 times what this is. It's 100 pips now, or 1 pip, whatever way you want to look at it. It was 6 pips or 600 pips prior to 7:01 changing the time. So you always have to take that into account when trading the DAX, but you can see everything was correct. We'd changed, the 15-minute had gone green here, the 15-minute had confirmed up. Clearly the 30-minute and everything were all up anyway. 30-minute was here, break and close, probably that red candle, but more importantly over here or here at 6 AM. H1 was the same, absolutely no need to worry about H1 to the downside. That had this was the lower low here, so that was already confirmed up, and the RSI was brilliant as well. RSI had actually done on the H4, forgot to mention this, had done the bust, pull back and break and close, so that was massively bullish as well. M30, M15, just check that you're in the right direction as well. No reversal to M15. We hadn't. This was the M15 here, low high high low high high, and or this was the uptrend, sorry, and we had a bearish continuation down, and then we had a bullish continuation up at 6 AM. The break of that is slightly lower, high low lower high lower low, low high high low high high, and break and close. So everything was looking absolutely spot on for a potential trade to the long side. So these this little bit of resistance over here is actually, remember, it's part of an uptrend, so it's minor resistance. It hasn't broken this low here, so it's failed to push the price lower. Buyers are stronger, in other words. So once again, everything's confirmed by the histo alert as well. 5 minute prior to, remember I traded about well, in this 5 minute bar. 5 minute had confirmed down between 6 and 7 AM. Then it had confirmed back up again, massively bullish moves. Everything was just, this is what I mean by all your ducks in a row, guys, alright? M30, M15, M5. How cool is that, really? That is your ducks in a row. I've never really actually thought about that before, but your M30, then your M15, then your M5, and then drop down to M1. Histo alert looking good to the long side as well. Oh, that's it. This is where the pivots come in. R1 was begging the price to go and test it as well. M1, so I had to wait for this M1 bar to close, and that was the trade there. Just took 12 pips out of this. When I say just, I mean that's what the DAX is. So you know, the DAX can be very 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 fast and scary, but you know, that was a 30 pip move. The move before it drew back was probably about 15 pips, I should think. 20 pips. So you know, this thing moves. What did I get? I got my trade with 4 minutes there. 4 minutes. So that's double my day's work as well. 12 pips, I go for 5 a day, and that's my income. That's what I like to make anyway, just to pay the bills and keep everyone happy. So then, as I say, I noticed this situation here. I think it was ECAD. And there, yeah, I'm in 1 minute chart, so you can see the move there. And if we do the analysis again, the day one had closed red. H4 had actually busted and broken. There's the bust, there's the pullback, there's the close during the open of the this week's market, as it were. There was a little gap I noticed. You can see the gap down on that chart there. Where was it? There. There's the gap. Closed on Friday there, opened on or today, Monday. Let's double check. It looks clearer on the H4 chart actually. There's the gap down here, open. It even pulled back and closed the gap there clearly. Put the level on there. So this was perfectly good to the downside. We'd confirmed to the downside on the H4. I think we are confirming, that's right, we're testing this low on the daily chart as we speak. Actually, it looks like it's going down there. So it's got a little way to go yet. There is potential of a move there still. So we're below we're below the daily pivot. We're below S1 now, or breaking through it. We're heading towards that daily low, and we've got S2 below us. So and that was picked up by the currency strength indicator. So there you can see live in front of you how that could have picked up a potential trade. So one trade for me, a couple of very, very good looking trade possibilities. You know, the M30 on this, oh, it had actually confirmed up by looking at that, by the looks of it. Yeah, so we needed to confirm down, which was that move there, which would have been low, high, high, low, high, high. You can see clearly this high, low, lower, high, lower, low had been broken by the close there, or the open there, it doesn't matter. Both would be a valid reversal to the long side, and then you've got your reversal. So the point is, you couldn't really rely on trading that doing M15 because the M30 was out of alignment. I hope that makes sense. Saying that, once you get your histo alert and you get familiar with this, you can squeakily bend the rules because momentum takes over the move at the time of day. So I would never have said that before this histo. So this is where the histo allows you to get trades where you may have had to stick to the rules without the histo. You know, this picks up the momentum of the move, time of day, which was a useful addition to my method actually, because it means you can actually get the occasional trade that would potentially run away from you. Having said that, all that happens is you get in a little bit later. We would have got in at this level, and there was no pullback. And again, that is an important caveat. When you are in a high momentum point of the day, i.e. the opens of the various markets, price will run away with you. So the only way to do that in a high momentum is trade the break of the low. And the same stands for the M15, say. If you're worried about missing the trade, take the break of the low, and you know, you take your chances, you pay your money, you take your chances. That is purely as a result of volatility. And you'll often hear traders say, oh, indicators are rubbish because they are trailing indicators, they can't get you in at the right time, and all this lot and the other. Well, you know, candlesticks are the gold standard, if you like, of indicators, and then this RSI is a close second place. So you know, you can clearly see once that low is broken there, or that low, you know, this low of price, That's a confirmation down as well, that M15 with that outside bar. It's not an engulfing bar. And this has broken and closed below the low of the previous one. And the guy who set up this indicator, it's an arbitrary number, 20 and minus 20. But, you know, I still don't know enough about this. What's to say we don't change it to minus 19 and 19, or minus 18.5 and 18.5? It needs more statistical analysis to pick out what is the best setting for that. So it's an arbitrary line, that line, these two grey lines. Price overrides anything you see on an indicator, and that 15-minute should have got us into that trade. But we were against the 30, which is the point of this. So anyway, guys, two fantastic examples on a very, very thin market. All the normal subjects, as it were, or suspects, were messy. Complete mess. The usual suspects is the saying, isn't it? There was nothing. Look, GJ, normally a mover at this time of day, nothing. So when you've got a bank holiday, pick your markets carefully, guys. Okay? So that's it. ECAD, beautiful, beautiful setup on a bank holiday Monday, and DE30, a beautiful looking trade, in my opinion, on a bank holiday Monday. Look at that, smacked into that R1 there. So you know, that's it, guys. That's what I do. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Oh, and the more you do this stuff, of course, guys, the more confident you will become. Belief in the method builds confidence, which obviously builds profits. Have a great bank holiday.